Iran is completely collapsing, in the words of President Donald Trump, and now his administration is launching Operation Economic Outcast to ratchet up even more pressure on the Iranian regime. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent unveiling the new sanctions earlier today, targeting 5 key sectors, more than 60 entities, individuals, and vessels around the world to completely strangle the Iranian economy. Watch.
Treasury has mapped every node, every facilitator, and every network that Iran has used to smuggle oil and evade sanctions. Beginning today, the actions of Treasury and other agencies will tighten the noose and block every potential source of revenue that funds the IRGC and the evil Iranian regime. To the ordinary soldiers supporting this regime, as more and more of your paychecks stop or are supposedly just delayed, ask whether your commanders are leading your country to triumph or to ruin. And recall that the Berlin Wall fell when ordinary soldiers decided not to shoot at their own people.
Former CIA station chief Dan Hoffman warning on this program last week that economically squeezing the regime might still not be enough to push them to the negotiating table. Watch.
If past is prologue, frankly, it's not. And if you look back at Iran's history, they've got an incredibly, practically infinite threshold for the pain that they're willing to inflict on their own population. They just don't care.
Joining me now, a board-certified plastic surgeon who escaped Iran with her family during the Islamic Revolution, Dr. Sheila Nazarian. Doctor, very good to have you on tonight. Let's just get right to it. We are in a new era now of economic pressure on Iran. I wonder if you think that's going to be enough to change the status quo we're in right now.
As it's been described so far, Brian, I agree with Hoffman that the regime, and especially the top 1% that's making all of the decisions for the country, is living quite comfortably. I have a friend who does business in Iran and has some family in Iran. He said their homes, Brian, are like nothing you have ever seen before. And these economic sanctions will do no more than prevent their son from getting a new BMW this year. So one thing was missing from the list you put up that Scott Bessent described economic fury as, and it's going after the wealth of that 1% personally. Remember, we saw the wife of a Gazan official escaping through the tunnels carrying a $30,000 Hermes Birkin bag? That's what's happening in Iran. And Hoffman is right. There is no end to the amount of economic pain that they are going to tolerate on their population.
Secretary Bessent provided kind of a stirring image of the Berlin Wall and the common soldier and what they do when they stop getting their paycheck and what they think about and what allegiances they have. Do you think that the common soldier, IRGC soldier in Iran, if they're not getting a paycheck, will say to themselves, what am I doing? Or are they so ideologically, fanatically committed to the cause that they don't even care if they're not getting paid?
Great question. And I'll tell you what they're being told in Iran. And the Iranian people, even the 90%, Brian, who hate the IRGC, they are extremely patriotic. You know, in Iran, they don't see themselves, the 90% don't see themselves as Islamists or even Muslim. They see themselves as Iranian with thousands of years of amazing history and accomplishment. And what the IRGC is telling them is, you may not like us, but without us, there is no Iran, because what America will do and what England will do and what our enemies will do is come in and break up the country into the different factions, the Kurds on one side, for example. And there will be no more Iran. Look at what happened in Syria. Look at what happened in Yugoslavia. And so the normal Iranian people, even if they hate the IRGC, being extremely patriotic, are being told Iran will not exist without the IRGC. And so what we need to have is messaging from the Scott Bessents and from the administration telling the Iranian people, and those soldiers they're so hoping will break off and will bring the loyalty back to the Iranian people and not shoot at them, like you said, is we respect the territorial sovereignty of Iran and we will not come in and break it apart that the IRGC is telling you is going to happen.
That's an interesting point. How do you do that in Iran? As I understand it, you don't have internet access. I mean, it's not like you go read the news in Iran and think for yourself, right? It's very restricted. So in this environment, what do you want to see America do or our allies do to get that message across to the... Ultimately, I think if the Iranian people do not own what happens next, change will not happen. Final thought to you on that.
There is internet now, and there needs to be consistent messaging coming out of the administration. And one more thing, Brian, that needs to be consistently messaged to the neighbors of Iran in the region. This whole idea that, oh, there's no appetite for a prolonged war in Iran. The Iranian regime is using that against us because they're telling the surrounding Arab states they're going to eventually leave. They're going to get their boats out of Hormuz. They're going to not have an appetite. They're not going to stay. But Iran, the regime, will exist. And if you went against us, you will pay. So that messaging that, oh, there's no appetite for this, there's no appetite for that, and we're going to abandon this eventually because of midterms, the Arab states will not trust us and will not join us in this economic abandonment of Iran.
Dr. Sheila Nazarian, we really appreciate your perspective as someone who fled the country, cares deeply about what's happening to the people. We will follow how these economic sanctions affect the regime. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.